Hey, 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 welcome everybody. We are live on the SideQuest, your favorite. Zach's
Wow.
yawning right
Zach
away.
just
Sorry, I wasn't high energy enough for Zach right away.
It was,
What used to be
it
your
was a
favorite video
natural
game podcast?
response.
Yeah, oh my
whenever
God.
Dally just starts talking, we all just start
Spreading out. We're gonna make all of our listener yawn. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the SideQuest, your favorite video game podcast where we talk about video games and stuff. I'm Dolly Demovsky. Joining me over there, JJ.
Hi. Wow.
In the corner down there, Zach is back.
Zach.
And down below me, Taylor is back.
Ready to skip right to the and stuff section of the podcast. Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna move us down here. Hey, you guys having a good time, a good day, a good everything?
A nice productive day.
I did nothing but work and then come home and sleep. So that's,
Oh, nice. Sleep is good.
yeah,
Sleep
yeah.
is good. Well, that's good. There has been a lot of fucking shit to talk about. Pardon my English, but it's been a day. Pardon my Francois. It has been a day, and I'm gonna pull up the big news of the day, which is the Xbox effect, baby. Essentially, the news is the Activision Xbox merger has been temporarily shut down a little bit
in Europe.
in Europe. And so yeah,
is it Europe or is it just UK?
I guess it would just be UK, wouldn't it?
It's the UK, yeah.
Yeah.
it's the UK, but
So
technically they're not part of Europe right now.
Yeah.
Nope.
So this is from the Competition and Markets Authority. We prevented Microsoft from purchasing Activision over concerns the deal would damage competition in the hashtag cloud gaming market, leading to less innovation and choice for UK gamers. Okay.
I do think it's very funny that the CMA specifically chose what hashtags to use here,
Yeah.
and that one of them was gamers.
And one of them is gamers. I've never heard of a cloud gaming market hashtag. Did they just invent
Click
that?
on it. Click
Let's
on
see.
it.
Time to click on it. Well, IGN. Let's see. Top cloud gaming.
Oh boy, this is also we're on Twitter.
Anyway, we're on Twitter. We're sorry for.
It's all we're gonna see is every article that quoted cloud gaming from this.
So cloud gaming is a hashtag as like impossible to find. It works. Totally works. Goodness.
yeah,
But-
I love it when my hashtag is just a search.
It is just a search. Anyway,
I mean, it technically does work, but it doesn't work well.
Let's talk about this because I hate this story. Let's talk about it because I fucking hate this story, guys. Tom Warren actually brought it up that the concern wasn't actually about Call of Duty per se. They were just noise. The larger one is the actual leveraging of Windows and Azure, which that's kind of an interesting take. He mentioned it back in September, tooting his own horn. But yeah, and that's really the CMA today was about cloud gaming.
Well,
like we don't care about
which is all well and good, but them acquiring Activision or not has nothing to do with how their position with cloud gaming is going to change or evolve in comparison to Sony's.
Completely agree.
So,
does
I mean,
Sony have an operating system I'm not aware of, or
I mean,
Sony doesn't. They had Linux for a while, right?
I guess my thing isn't that I don't think that Microsoft has that there are angles of monopoly that Microsoft has. It's just that the angle isn't cloud gaming because Sony has debatably as much cloud gaming as Microsoft does. They have the same position on it. So is the CMA just saying that it's just too many games on one cloud system?
Have you been on Sony's? Like, they've got a shit ton of cloud gaming. I mean, granted, a lot of it's just.
I don't think it's as good, but that doesn't mean that it's not there and
like
being offered.
Yeah, like a good chunk of like the PS3 and PS4 offerings are available via the cloud.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the only way to play PlayStation 3 games on your
Yeah,
PlayStation 5.
What if we got the ultimate solution, which is the fact that they open up PC Games Pass to Linux operating system?
Yeah.
Well, here's
Game Pass on the Mister.
what
Yes, on the Mister. Thanks, Telly.
what this could, I guess, be leading to for Sony might be, since there's been that rumored like PC app that they've been wanting to bring over, like to have like PlayStation games on your computer. I forgot what it was called. That was like it was like some code name, but it could be because of that. I don't know, but it's still stupid. But that could be why they're like bringing.
It feels like the Activision deal is not shouldn't have been the path to take for this, but I mean, I guess it worked. So who am I to say?
I mean, I would assume that I don't know how the CMA works in comparison to, say, like the laws in the United States. Like in the United States, the government can open an antitrust lawsuit theoretically at any time. So it doesn't have to. They don't have to wait till a merger or acquisition occurs to do that. But anyway, I don't know. Again, I think that concerns about Microsoft's ability to leverage Windows and Azure is legitimate. I just don't think it's necessarily in relation to them also owning Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
That's that on that.
That's that on that. Do you guys think it's going to go through eventually?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think concessions will be made, and it will keep. I mean, although, do we now pivot to the press release that Activision Blizzard King put out afterwards?
I can't believe that's a real press release. Is it?
Pretty sure. Dude, I mean, I did not independently verify its authenticity.
It's not funny enough to be parody, but it's also not.
It definitely, like we said, it looks like something that Bobby Kotick would have actually written up, and it very well might be something that Bobby Kotick wrote up here. I'm going to share my screen here to show that press release because it's just so fucking off the wall. Basically, there it is. The CMA's report contradicts the ambitions of the UK to become an attractive country to build technology businesses. And then it just goes on to like disservice the UK citizens who face increasingly dire economic prospects. Yet literally getting Activision is going to help the UK's citizens' dire prospects. But the best part
video games.
Play video games. The last part is that last line. Global innovators, large and small, will take note that despite all its rhetoric, the UK is clearly closed for business. Oh, my Lord. Gosh. Activision. You got to be Bobby K, baby.
Truly a bizarre. I don't know. The way that I put it in when we were chatting about it on the Discord was, yes, I think it's real, and I don't think that they sent it to Daddy Amazon to proofread before they released it. It's just very bizarre sounding.
It really is. I don't think any PR person got involved in that one. Well, I think it is gonna still take place. I think, like, you're right. I think there's gonna be some concessions, obviously. And it may end up being similar to like what we were saying, where streamers and other big IP companies will just say, all right, well, we're not going to put this on your service in your country for whatever reason, and that.
I mean, they could carve it out.
Carve it out separately and make it its own thing.
But like, at what point does it matter? Like, does it stop Microsoft's expansion and usage of the technologies that they also own and operate? No, not really. They'll just also make money directly off of COD sales too while they do those other things. Mm-hmm. Like, is it going to stop them from using Azure servers on the back end of COD and potentially make it better? And then they'll use non-Azure servers for PlayStation players and it will perform worse. And then PlayStation will get a reputation about having worse performance in their multiplayer games. And then everybody will stop buying PlayStations, and then Sony will go bankrupt. Think about it.
Yeah. Wow. Really puts it into perspective.
I saw that on Twitter.
We could pivot this really well though with a segue
Go for it.
saying, like,
Do it.
but Microsoft needs all the help it can get to sell consoles, and then you would bring up the
there you
sales
go.
chart.
All right, I'll bring.
What
up
do you
the sales
mean?
chart. So yeah, the Microsoft released their financials, and it ain't going so hot right now for their.
No way.
Now
I can't believe that they sandbagged their consoles and it's not going well.
No,
Can't believe not having any games makes you not sell consoles.
So here's Dom, who Dom's playing. Dom's in Austin. Dominic Toretto. Family. He's the gaming family. No, their fiscal year 2023 for this third quarter. Gaming revenue declined overall for those 3 months. Obviously, beginning of the year, they didn't have any first-party releases that made money. Hi-Fi Rush did not make money because it was on Game Pass. I think people didn't buy it because its goal, as we kind of talked about it, blah, blah. There was the Jeff Grubb thing. I don't want to bring up Grubb, but Grubb was a part of that story.
Guess who did buy it?
Yes, who did buy it? You actually bought Hi-Fi Rush?
I bought it on Steam just because.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, good. And that's
Steam
good.
Deck.
Yeah.
It
made it easier, and I didn't have to jump through as many hoops to play it on the Steam Deck.
I think, so that game didn't really drive sales numbers, I should say, but I'm sure it helped retain people to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Game Pass numbers and their services, as you can kind of see there. Content and services are up 3%, so that's above their sort of estimate, and that basically means they've retained people in Game Pass, and which is a good sign. They're not necessarily selling games because, again, there aren't a lot of games, but there's content and services is Game Pass. It's DLC. It's other types of selling Xbox points or whatever those are these days. I don't know, cards.
400 Xbox points.
400 Xbox
track.
But overall, it's a decline of 4% for gaming, and the big part is that the consoles are down like 30%. Hardware is 30% lower, which this is a good chart. You can kind of see that this is their gaming revenue that kind of shows it is a continual dip going down. When this dip happened over here, they basically said, guess what? Next year is the Xbox Series console. And then that's what happened here. And whenever there's a dip like this, it's difficult to sort of to rein it back to make it into a positive. It usually, the signs right now are pointing to them having a crisis for their console. We knew that. And it's because you guys made great points in the Discord. Please join the SideQuesting Discord. That they have two consoles right now. The Series X, which the developers absolutely love, and the Series S, which is selling like gangbusters, but developers absolutely hate because it's.
Is it selling like gangbusters?
It was beating the Series X, I believe.
It's not selling like gangbusters.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Yeah, well, it was for a while, but not anymore. And developers have come out and said they don't like to have to develop for these two pretty different devices, like the same game, because it is splitting their resources, and you are getting a lower quality game with the Series S. So I think that's why, man. Like we've talked about this, they basically need a Series X that just doesn't use discs anymore,
as opposed to the PS4 and PS5 that most people are developing for.
Well, it finally ended with the PS4.
Well, that ended, but it's kind of the same thing. But Microsoft's their current gen is the PS4 and PS5 basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like
they released two brand new consoles on the same day and have been producing content for both of these completely different consoles.
And third-party developers are still developing for the Xbox One. So don't forget that. That's still a part of the equation. So they got three consoles they're developing for Xbox as opposed to the two.
Well, let's be fair. Microsoft isn't, because they don't make video games anymore.
Agreed. Yeah. No, but so we've finally seen that switch start to happen with the flip the Switch flipped, whatever, with the PlayStation, where this year we're going to finally start to see exclusively PlayStation 5 games from Sony. Good riddance to the PS4. But we're not seeing exclusively Series
Not
X
as long
games.
as Alice is still around, baby.
Yeah, there you go. But we're not seeing the exclusively Series X, and we're not going to. But maybe that's the direction that Microsoft needs to make, because they need to get one major piece of hardware that has their high-end shit, and then their lower-end, cheaper stuff just needs to be the streaming device. They need to say, thank you, Series S, you were great.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen until the next gen entirely, and we still have a half gen device to go. Because let's be honest, it's almost certain that we're going to get a PS5 Pro and I'm not certain about what Microsoft's going to do anymore at all. But we're definitely.
I have no idea. We don't know.
I would put my confidence about PS5 Pro above 75%.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that Microsoft could theoretically make it through. Who knows? Maybe they buck the trend and try and beat Sony to it and just release a new console entirely. Nintendo's off.
I think Microsoft needs to.
Nintendo's off the gen cycle. Like Nintendo's like, yeah, peace out. We're not doing a little bit, yeah, but we're not doing that anymore. So thanks for playing up until now.
Outside of just being tradition, there's nothing stopping them from just like.
What's interesting is the story we kept hearing for the longest time was, hey, we're going to get away from the traditional gaming cycles. Now you're going to have new consoles all the time. Well, guess what? That hasn't happened. We haven't. No. We had the Pro, which is the middle console, but that's not really a new console.
Yeah.
It might to be fair, Microsoft has the best opportunity to do that because the Xbox One still played Halo Infinite. Like I played Halo Infinite on my Xbox One before I ever got an Xbox Series, and it ran like ass, but they still developed an Xbox. They developed the game to work for Xbox One. They need to do their own thing, and again, the promise of the consoles being small and iterative and advanced that way has not come true, because the Pro it's a bump up, but you don't need to have the Pro.
I think that it's almost not worth it to think about that being a possibility. It's never going to happen.
Sure.
R&D is too expensive. Raw materials are way more expensive. If it was a possibility three years ago, that possibility's gone.
That was more apparent. That happened with the Xbox 360 generation, where they released a new Xbox. It seemed like every 8 months, with newer chipsets, smaller chipsets, more powerful bigger hard drives. And I repurchased an Xbox because of that, because it kept improving. And if it was minor, but the games on the end of the Xbox era ran better on those Xboxes by a lot than they did on the original Xbox. So, it's not going to happen now.
But the problem is that the cost for it, like, unlike what you can do with PCs with incremental upgrades, not counting laptops, obviously, doesn't exist. So, like, are you or we're just is the expectation that people are just continuously buying new consoles and replacing old consoles? That's unrealistic. You're targeting a niche of a niche.
I really think Xbox thought they were going to go into something with that all access or whatever the fuck they called it, where it was just like, well, you get to upgrade when
sure,
like, but
twice it hasn't worked. Yeah,
but like it felt like that was maybe
try and go and like how an iPhone every 2 years kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
that's that's what
all
they
access,
did.
which is you're paying monthly. You get the Game Pass. You get you're paying $40 a month or whatever that was.
But
it's just again, here's the thing is that Apple made it happen because they invested however many
exactly
multi-million, if not multi-billion dollars into an entire R&D field essentially, and built a silicon pipeline from scratch. And if Microsoft wants to do the same and essentially, I don't know, like buy AMD, I don't know. I mean, like what else? I'm not sure what Microsoft would have to do to make it realistically possible.
I would
It's almost like they did. It's almost like they came up with the plan first, and then as it started,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Good point. I would love to see them, man. I'd love to see the high-end Xbox be the Series X and the low-end Xbox be a handheld. And
That's definitely never going to happen. What are you smoking?
I'm not smoking.
I'm assuming you mean like,
but
what if the Series S was just a Steam Deck? Is that basically?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, and I think then at least I don't know, because it works well enough for the Steam Deck. I think you could do something.
Yeah, because it doesn't run Windows natively.
True.
And then whatever handheld Microsoft makes is going to have to run Windows.
It's going to have to run Windows. That's true.
You ever use the portable Microsoft device?
Yeah, no, it's just a strange situation for Microsoft right now, and you got to believe that they're just having
here and defend the Windows phone.
Zach, what's up? Hit me,
fellas. Listen, so there's an issue we're not talking about here with the Xbox console. They don't have any games.
It's like coming up.
That's just the big thing. There's nothing to push the consoles. So they could do the every 2 year thing. They could do all these other things, but there's no reason to do that if they're not going to have a game. Like if you're not going to have games to play, Halo is basically dead. There's
Forza is their franchise, like the Microsoft franchise.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah,
it's like that. That's why Call of Duty will become a Microsoft franchise, but it's not Microsoft doing any of the work.
Which is really weird because they sucked up all these game studios and they said, "All right, check out. We have 87 game studios now joining the Xbox family. We got Hi-Fi Rush, which was like." Hey, we were working on this side project. We really wanted to do it, and they gave us a green light. But the main game, I have no fucking idea what the main game is going to be because Tango is,
So here's one of the questions, which is that a lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and that a lot of the studios that they gobbled up are
big,
not making exclusive games.
Yeah,
the games are releasing multi-platform. So.
They were releasing multi-platform now.
Well, yeah, I know, but which one is changing other than Bethesda and Starfield?
Is the with the Fable? I'm sorry, the not Fable, the Pillars of Eternity, folks. What is it?
Yeah, but the fact that it's this hard is Obsidian. Yeah, which I guess this is still kind of case in point, which is that they have those studios. But the fact that we can't name that many games that are actually exclusive to Xbox and Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, they had that big presentation where they ran down here are all the great games that all these new studios are going to be making exclusive to Xbox, from Fable to whatever that game is, and the next
how many have come out?
Gears of War. None of them have come out.
Redfall is just around the corner.
So you're going to hear at E3 again, Avowed. Thank you, Stefan. That's the one I was talking about. You're going to hear at E3 one more time. Or I say one more time. Again, you're going to hear Microsoft. You're going to hear Phil.
We got to get E3.
Yeah, I'm sorry, E3.
The Xbox family is growing.
With our guy right here. He's going to come out on stage and he's going to say, "We're going to have the biggest season for Xbox ever." It's like, bro, we've heard that every year
in 2025
years, and we're still waiting for it. Granted, they had a great year, last real year of the Xbox One. It was kind of awesome, and sort of that first-ish year of the early 2022 for this console series. But other than that, it's been very dry.
It feels like they're banking pretty hard on Bethesda. They're like, "Hey, you guys, you got to give us a $20 million copy."
That's an understatement.
But we're going to see all of these games because right now they have Redfall, and then they have Starfield is September, and Forza is October and November, and that's all they have announced. So
if there's a game to make enough sales, it's gonna be Bethesda's game. So
I saw.
Did you imagine if Bethesda was still multi-plat with Starfield? Good Lord,
Jesus! I saw on Twitter that Rare and Playground were having a soccer game today.
jeez.
against each other, and it made me click on Playground. Like, oh, I guess I've never looked at their Twitter page before to see if they got some sick pictures of cars. And their banner is the Fable logo, and that like unlocked.
That's what they're working on.
Yeah, that unlocked that memory to me. I was like, oh shit, that's right. These guys are fucking making Fable.
I remember when people got mad. It's like, why is a card game developer making Fable?
Well, you guys don't remember at all, do you guys?
The last Fable game was a vehicle game. So I guess.
There you go. But it's true. They were all in the cart. But they're going to have to come out at their showcase and just
Stalker 2.
They need to show all of these games.
The reality is that you look at the subsidiaries of Microsoft Game Studio or Xbox Game Studios, and you look at the names that are there, and the companies that are there don't produce the kind of games that equal the size and scope that Sony's has for a reputation. Right now it doesn't happen. Bethesda comes the closest, which is the reason, like as you guys just said, is the reason why Starfield is exclusive. If they didn't, it would have. If me as an investor would have been like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, like Microsoft doesn't have that Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Santa Monica,
Guerrilla.
They don't like Guerrilla exactly.
Yeah.
Like Bethesda's.
They got Hideo Kojima.
They got a Hideo Kojima cloud-based
game.
That's why they're so scared in the UK, dude. They're scared that Kojima's gonna.
Honestly,
Microsoft gobbling up Kojima.
Like with Death Stranding 2, I mean, like not that I think that Death Stranding 2 is going to be an Xbox exclusive, because it won't be. But what I mean is that Death Stranding 2 launch pads. I mean, Kojima, as if he wasn't already famous enough in terms of game stuff, but like I think Death Stranding 2 is only going to push it further, and specifically his notoriety. That could become the kind of thing that is big enough to like actually move console sales at this point. Death Stranding became this bizarre flashpoint of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, fandom, I guess.
American culture.
It's definitely not that.
We've been given 30 minutes of the whole Microsoft thing, and it's
a fascinating story.
It is. It's a huge story, and it's it's going to keep spiraling all over the place.
And I think we all feel like if we talk enough, we're going to figure out what.
Yeah, we're not going to figure it out.
I'm definitely going to figure it out. I'm the smartest.
Well, the next date is May. For Xbox, for I think is that the EU one, or is that the I know the US one is like later this summer. So there are still a few dates for some of this Xbox stuff to go through. So we'll see what
Silk Song reveal when.
Silk Song reveal when it's exclusive now.
There you go.
It's no longer coming to Switch. Imagine.
That's a console. That's going to be the one that saves the company.
But real quick, Activision also released, considering that we're talking about them, also released their numbers. King is 42% of their revenue. Fucking wild. Think about how big Activision Blizzard King is, and then think about the fact that King is 42%.
Yeah.
You're like, what about COD? COD is less than Candy Crush, bro. We don't care. We don't care about COD. Think about Sony saying if we lost COD, we will have to go bankrupt, and it's less than Candy Crush.
Yeah. Tell Sony that if you let this go through, we'll port Candy Crush to the PlayStation 5.
Well, speaking of stuff that took place in Europe or is going to be taking place in Europe, one last little story that I have is something's going to be taking place in Europe this August, and that's Gamescom.
Call of Duty game.
And surprisingly, Nintendo is going to be at Gamescom. Now, to me, that's actually kind of a weird-ish timing. Because
middle of August, when Nintendo usually announces their stuff.
Well, Pikmin is the last game they have coming out that they've announced, and that's July. and they're not going to spend Gamescom talking about Pikmin or Zelda because those games will have already sold, and
For
they're
4
not going to
days?
talk Splatoon or
No.
Mario Kart. None of that. I mean,
Only 4
they're not
days.
gonna
They'll
do,
bring a
like-
game that's only been
Yeah.
out for 4 days. Who are you
Yeah,
talking?
right.
What are you?
Yeah.
Who are you kidding?
They said they're
Bring
gonna
on Nintendo, my man.
they're gonna have like
they brought Super Mario Brothers 1 to PAX East.
That's
it's not games. Gamescom
I
is
know,
different.
yeah.
But I'm
It's-
saying
it's-
like are they gonna bring Pikmin 4 and it's gonna just be sitting there for 4 days? I would hope so that they wouldn't. So
That's
like
it's a
it's
great
just-
game. Hopefully, yeah. Pikmin
I was
3 is
like,
awesome.
oh,
But obviously there was rumors flying around. It's going to be the next Switch. It's this. It's
It's not
they
gonna
were
be the
there
next
4
Switch.
years ago, right? I think they were there at the Gamescom in 2019. I believe.
2019.
And so that was the year that they had like Luigi's Mansion, and I was kind of looking through Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario Maker 2, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Link's Awakening, Pokemon Sword and Shield. So those games were around that at that time, and so I think even Daemon X Machina was. So they actually had plenty game wise to show off. So I'm thinking it's more game related stuff is going to be there, right? I mean, it's going to be. I don't think hardware is going to be shown off. It's way too early for them to. They're not going to just show
Unless
hardware.
unless it's some real goofy fucking thing, like some
The
Nintendo ass
cardboard thing.
hardware. Yeah.
But it's an interesting story because who would have thunk that Nintendo was going to be at Gamescom when they're not going to be at E3 because there's no games at E3, and when they pulled out at E3, that was the death knell right there. Nintendo not being there because they were at PAX. So, and Nintendo's doing their own Nintendo Live thing in the US in September. So they're, I don't think there's new consoles involved in this, but there could be some fun gaming things. So we're,
September's going to be weird for Nintendo because they're really sort of like pandering it around that time for things. It's and PAX is then.
I figured it out.
Well. Yeah.
It's just going to be the Mario movie release on Blu-ray. They're just going to have that there. And don't download it because there's a high quality rip floating out there right now. And I even posted the 1 minute long version that's on Twitter. It'll just
this
be
is the one they showed in Argentina.
Yeah, the one they showed in Argentina. Somebody ripped it, but anyways, Nintendo Gamescom's interesting because Xbox not going to be there, and I believe Sony's not going to be there. So Nintendo is going to be the only.
It's definitely going to be the most milquetoast kind of thing that Nintendo's going to.
They're totally fine doing it, and it's probably hey, we got Nintendo versus leftover from
it's
shifted over there.
It's going to be Pikmin. It's going to be some sort of like the East Coast branch of Nintendo versus like a tournament. They'll show maybe some DLC for something, Pokemon DLC or some bullshit.
Nintendo was going there because they looked at it and they said, "Yeah, we can market something real good right now. Yeah. Let's do it." It's literally we're doing a live 3-day press release. Cool. All right. Sure.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they showed up to PAX, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
still can't believe it.
Show up to PAX? Did they really show up to
PAX? They spend money on shit, man. I'm just saying that like they
Mario
brought things.
and Luigi were there in person.
So that booth by
Zelda was right at the front.
Yeah. He's not that big.
That booth is the one they took around the States over the holidays.
Yeah.
That was it. So it was free. They didn't have to come up with anything new. They literally had that booth. They're like, hey, we still have this thing from November and December. Let's just throw it at Boston as well. So
that makes more sense.
That to me is what PAX was, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to be what happens here as well.
Gamescom,
the
Europeans don't get Nintendo stuff showing up very often on their doorstep. So
they don't. That's a German sound like.
Yeah, the Germans, well known.
But let's move into games that we're playing now, because I think that's that could be kind of cool. There are plenty of games that we're playing right now. I'm going to let Zach go first and tell us some of the stuff that he's been playing. Do you want me to just hit play on one of these things, or?
Yeah, sure. Surprise me.
I'll surprise you with this first one. Right. Yeah.
It's the link from his Christmas card. Oh God.
Melon Journey.
Yeah, this game is really cool. I guess it's cool depending on what kind of games you like. This is just it's a story game, adventure game. You're just kind of walking around talking to people, experiencing this world. It's made in an RPG maker, which is cool. I love games that utilize that
it's
engine.
great.
They're always like super quirky and weird, but this one specifically is like kind of the pinnacle of that. Like this was one of the first games that came out on itch.io like a long time ago, like 2012. The prequel to this game. The prequel to this game predates Undertale and a bunch of other games that were inspired by Undertale. So it's kind of like it has that voice that Undertale has that wasn't. So it's like it has a very connective tissue. It's like, oh, Undertale was inspired by this first game, Melon Journey, and then this is the sequel to Melon Journey almost 11 years later, which is crazy. There's no need to play the first game. But yeah, it's just a really solid story game. Like it's like you play as a character. Her name is Melon. Her best friend disappears, and she goes on an adventure to try and find him. They work and live inside of a melon factory that makes melon sodas, all these types of melon products, and it has this pretty like whimsical story on top of it. But there's something kind of like darker under it, like oh, she's living in a building where the melon factory is where she works. And this city she's going to
RPG, by the way, or
there's no combat
nothing,
or anything.
yeah.
You just like walk around and talk.
Got it.
Yeah, you like walk around, find an item, then you find the item that a person's like asking for. It kind of just like you just keep going and exploring the world. It turns into a detective story kind of. And yeah, so you eventually go into a city that has banned all melon products because there's something wrong with the things they put in their sodas and all these things. And so it's like it's really it has that like undertone of like social commentary going on. There's a lot of like union strikes going on in like cities and gentrification of cities and like music, and there's a lot of really interesting things. All the characters are super funny. The dialogue's really good. It's just a really enjoyable, lighthearted, but also not. But it's not like super depressing. But it's like, oh, like this. There's some kind of edge here, which I think is needed for something like this, at least for me. You need some kind of edge to pull you in. Yeah, it's a really gorgeous game, and it definitely has like heft in the indie game community because it's been 11 years, and it kind of started the whole renaissance of RPG Maker games back in 2011. So yeah, definitely give them give Froach Club their laurels. They're great. Yeah. So that's that one.
It looks charming, which is you don't get to see that too often. Yeah,
I like that it nails the original Game Boy Color palette without looking fully like a Game Boy game. Like,
yep, and it's made. I just like RPG Maker games. Just like blow my mind because most of the time all of them kind of look the same, but whenever a dev like really dives into it, there's just games that look like you're just like, how did they do this within the RPG Maker like engine? I just love when games are like that.
Have you guys made anything in RPG Maker before? Any of you guys?
I mean, I've messed around with it. It's weird. I don't know how anybody makes.
I'm gonna have to post. I did my. I've done a bunch of projects in RPG Maker. One I did as sort of this super long Apocalypse Now style video game set in a fantasy world, which is gonna be like the opening section of this. This was back in the 90s, RPG Maker 95, a bootleg copy. And then, yeah, Apocalypse Now. And then I did for college for my thesis for my class on like semantics. I did my full thesis in RPG Maker, and my professor was absolutely floored because in my game I made him, and you walk around as him in our school and kind of discovering aspects of the students, and I can't fucking find it now. I'm so upset that I can't find my thesis because I think I gave him the only copy on like 3.5-inch disc or whatever back in the day.
Dang.
But RPG Maker was and still is a pretty cool. I'm
Imagine the only time I ever really tinkered with RPG Maker was the PlayStation 1 version, which is like the absolute worst way to deal with like the menus of RPG Maker.
There's this game called Lisa. It's one of my favorite games on Steam. It's made in RPG Maker, but it's a 2D game. They somehow turned it from a top down to 2D. I don't know how he even like approached that, but it's just like really crazy.
Yeah, he'd like to play this on Analog Pocket. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Sure.
And you're playing another game that's not for review, but you did want to mention it. And
yeah, it just came out yesterday, and Honkai Rail, Honkai Star Rail. This is like, it's made by MiHoYoverse, who are the people that make Genshin Impact, which is their biggest game. They have Honkai Impact that they did before, and this is a sequel to Honkai Impact, which is their first game. And this game is, it's really impressive. I just like, I'm the type of person that plays every gacha game that comes out just to try it because they're free. Why not?
It's free.
And
for sure.
it's like, and this one has really gotten its hooks in me like immediately. The story is just really, it's really good. Like the story is like very fascinating. Like it's an immediately like, hey, like you have this thing, and so like basically like you start playing as the bad guy of the game, and she's like trying to find this weapon, and she does find it, and then she puts it inside of a cadaver, like a fake human, and then that becomes you. And then she tells you like, hey, the leader of our group can see the future, and he knows that all these things are going to happen. So you need to watch out. You need to watch out for us and all these things. So like that's a really interesting story hook. And then eventually you meet your friends, and it's kind of like, oh, like you're just like slowly unravel this kind of story of like, you know, like mythic space gods, and like you're traveling to different planets on a train to get rid of these artifacts that dropped from the sky that's like destroying planets and things. It's so interesting. The aesthetic is so cool. Like it's just like,
always freaking love their aesthetic. They've nailed it. It's like
I really
Let me tell
like
you about their previous game if you're going to talk about Evangelion Impact, because
they had an Evangelion crossover in the other game. But this one is like, the aesthetic is so good. The music is like strange. It's not like anything of like kind of like, it's like jazz, but not really. It's like kind of this like upbeat techno, but not really. It's like the company has a ton of money to use to make games, and it's cool to see them use it. Like the game looks gorgeous. It plays well. The voice acting is actually like kind of like crazy good. It's like I'm just kind of like in awe of some of the characters, like in how they're talking, just how they sound like real. Like whoever did the voice direction like deserves a raise. Like it's really good. And then even on top of you can just go and play it. But on top of that, the gameplay is just super good. Like it reminds me of Final Fantasy X. It has that kind of like, each enemy has a weakness, and once you hit the weakness, you kind of break their bar, and then you can attack their health. And each character that you get in the game through the story are super good, and then the ones you pull from the gacha are also good too. So it's like there's no way to like kind of like wall you. But what I've found is every character just has this unique toolkit. Like there's a character I have who has a mahjong table, and whenever a person on the team attacks, she pulls out a mahjong tile, and then if she gets matching pieces, it gives her different buffs, or it gives you different buffs. So it's like so much just like weird things, like, oh, if you hit if you hit the weakness spot of a character 2 times in a row, this character might do this attack, or all these different things. It's so it's just really well thought out, like a really fun system to play. Like I'm obsessed with the combat system. It just like has its hooks in me. I wasn't expecting it because most gacha games are turn-based games. It's pretty easy to just kind of like play and go on auto and kind of just let it go. But it's like this is like I want to play. I want to read the story. I want to like engage with it because it's just really enthralling. I'm just kind of surprised by it. It's just so aesthetically interesting. Like it really
does look so cool.
Oh man. Yeah.
It reminds me of all the great anime scenes in like the last few Fire Emblem games, but like to the nth degree, and actual devices that can handle them too. So
and then it's like you're on a train in space traveling to different planets. You're on an actual train, and it's like it's laid out in such a way where it's going to be cool for the story, where it's like, okay, we go to one planet, we talk to the people, we solve a problem, or a thing happens that informs the story, we go to the next spot, kind of like One Piece, how they do the islands where things just kind of go from there. So it's just like I'm invested. Like I'm just like, okay, cool, this is a game I'm actually gonna play and like experience the story because I'm just like in love with it. But yeah, the voice acting is scary how good it is. Like I was playing it last night, just kind of like dumb, just like staring at my computer, like, wait, what? This is a random gacha game. Like, why is it like this good? Yeah, definitely check it out. It's free. It's gonna be on PS5 soon, maybe tomorrow. I think it's not on there yet, but yeah,
I think it's coming to like everything, right?
PS5 and it's on PS5 and PC, and that's it.
Oh, already? Okay.
And Android and iOS.
Yeah,
and PS4.
Yeah.
But yeah,
everything's up. Yeah, PS4 still. Nice. Well, that's cool. Awesome. Honkai Star Rail. Is it
multiplayer at all?
There's multiplayer elements for like raids and stuff where you can like invite friends, like help you with raids, and you can add your friends and use their supports and stuff. But it's mostly a single player RPG. So
interesting. Yeah. You play anything else?
I mean, like I got a review code for RuneScape. You want me to talk about? Do you want me to talk about that?
No, we're fine.
We can say that for a different show.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. Well, let's go to Mr. Sleepy Pants over there, Taylor. Taylor, wake up, brah. It's late.
I was just asking questions about Honkai. What do you want from me?
What are you playing, dude?
I am playing. Did I talk about? No, I did. I talked about Final Fantasy Strange Origins, right? Like 2 weeks ago.
Last time. Yeah.
All right. So I was doing that. Zach, I felt that was a good game. I felt like there was a different game that I was playing that I didn't talk about because. All right. I'll talk about Apico real quick. That's a beekeeping game. Nice. I got like 4 hours into that. I think that it would take a lot more than that to have more. It's there's a mod for Minecraft where you can keep bees, and this game is like, okay, that was really cool. Make a whole game about it. And so there's a lot of similarities in crafting and similar things. And if you want to just sit there and play bees, you can't die. You just have to keep bees. Oh, I got good news. This is it. But it's good. I mean, like, it's just you sit there and you crossbreed bees and you collect honey and you keep doing those tasks and forever. So if that sounds like the kind of thing that you want to do, I have good news. It kind of
does sound like the kind of thing that I want.
It's an overwhelming game. But
there's a lot all at once. But I think it's one for me. I struggle with it just because I have to do all the things, and this is a game that is you don't have just do whatever you want. Just keep some bees. It doesn't matter. Breed them. Who cares? Make some bees. but then you can release bees, you can recover populations and that kind of thing. Obviously, we're looking at the visuals here. I find this aesthetic very welcoming to me.
Yeah, baby.
I enjoy it quite a bit. And yeah, so you see we're sliding off and getting some honeycomb there, and
nice.
I didn't even know there was a boat. Haven't done this.
Surprise!
Spoiled for me.
Yeah, there's other islands you go to because there's
islands. There's kind of like biomes and stuff like that. Certain bees can only grow a certain biome, stuff like that. Looks like there's a whole subplot there that maybe I'll learn about if I keep playing it.
There's like a god for each island. You give the bees to the god and open and unlock something, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Holy shit!
Then you have to do a Punnett square to figure out like what genes are recessive, and yeah.
I played Path of Exile for like 1 hour on Steam Deck.
Okay, how's it function on Steam Deck?
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Hey, turn off your eye thing, please.
And this is me actually staring at the camera.
No.
Stop. But yeah, I mean, I know that the devs at Grinding Gear, I think they like the Steam Deck, and so I know that they put in some specific work to try and get control schemes functional on it, and so yeah, it went well. But if we want to talk about overwhelming games, Path of Exile is kind of
I can
up there. So I played it for like 2 hours, then I stopped and didn't.
I can't imagine playing that on that little screen and having a look at the skill tree, just like
I didn't really get that far. But what I really been playing is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Because after we talked about lore and shit after the big trailer, I was like, hold up. I think Skyward Sword might be important for me to play. That's
the one Zelda game that I take it. That's one of the 2 Zelda games that I haven't completed. So yeah, I got to go back to that.
It's easy to hit some brick walls in Skyward Sword. There's some sections that get irritating.
Skyward Sword.
Are you playing on Switch or Steam Deck?
I am playing it on Switch.
Okay.
I just went for it. The couple problems with Skyward Sword. The camera is bad. The camera's not very good. The controls are hard to translate into. Man. I did it with using the Joy-Cons and as if it was a Wiimote controller. And it's still not very good there. It was just kind of a poorly executed plan for control schemes. And it translates into really, really bad camera as a result, unfortunately. I mean, like even with the gyroscope camera, it's just like it's so bad. Anyway, you can only have the right stick control the camera if you're using the motion controls for the sword play. Mesmerizing. I can't. I mean, I get it. I mean, like the I don't know. Put the sword one button press on like under a button press layer. So like I hold L2 to activate sword or so. I don't know. I'm not a game designer, but like I guess this is the best they could come up with. But this is I'm at the I'm at the Earth Temple. So I guess probably still pretty early on. This is a game that exists. It Skyward Sword walked so that Breath of the Wild could run, because you can see a lot of the things that they took away from this game to build into Breath of the Wild. I mean, like Breath of the Wild could not have come up. Oh yeah, I mean, Steph. That's pretty much where I'm going with it, Stefan. It's like the fact that you there's a button, you sprint, and your stamina. And my wife was watching this, was like, "What's the green pie thing?" It it doesn't really add much in this game.
Ooh, that's in the new one.
Like it does, and like it did in Breath of the Wild. Like a lot of it kind of was half baked in some regards. Any time where you were about to run out of stamina, but you have to keep going, they give you a stamina flower to replenish it anyway. So it's like, why is this here then? Why do I? Yeah. Is it just to slow me down?
It's almost like they implemented it, and then too late in the game they realized this sucks.
Yeah, this isn't good. Give them the stamina flowers everywhere that they are about to run out of stamina. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's to artificially elongate certain portions of the game by not letting you sprint through the whole thing. But otherwise, I mean, like, combat is good aside from like a lot of it's a neat idea. It's just, again, poorly implemented.
I never had much of a problem with the motion controls with this. I never really thought too much about it until like, it's like the weapon durability in Breath of the Wild. Like my brain never really thought about it until I started reading other people talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, I guess it was kind of fucked up.
It's just fucking wild. Like I said, I don't mind it. And if I could control the camera and use the joystick to
here they are explaining how this bullshit works.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Stefan, this is the remaster on Switch. So yeah.
No, he took the actual Wii disc and shoved it in his Switch. That's what
I shoved it in my Switch, put that motherfucker in there. The tools and shit are good. I don't know. I mean, like, it's got all the good Zelda stuff that I'm looking for. I don't have the hook shot yet. Looking forward to that. Can't wait.
See the beginnings of what Breath of the Wild.
There's a ton of you can see that there's a bunch of physics play. They're rolling the bombs, and the interactivity with the world is very clear. Clearly
minecarts.
Something new.
Minecarts are going to be in Tears of the Kingdom, and there's a minecart.
Bringing it back, baby.
Yeah.
I'm looking at how much shit is in this game that I have not even come close to seeing. I'm like, I'm not beating this before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. There's no way I'm beating this before Tears of the Kingdom. No shot.
I still hate the like seed thing where you're like hiding from the knights and shit. That stuff still. When I was
in Sprite Princess too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were as a wolf, and you're like, I gotta get all these bugs.
Yeah.
It's nobody likes that part of the games. Nobody. It's never. I don't know. I guess, do we put it in there just so that we can appreciate the better times where we're not doing that in the game? I don't know. Fi is fine. I don't know. I don't even like. She just exists. I don't care.
Yeah.
The sword.
Nintendo, at least it's not like a Xenoblade sword. I mean, let's be honest here.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, it feels like a good Zelda game. I
remember there being one because I played it on the Wii and then I played it on the Switch, and I haven't gotten very far on the Switch version because I get to the point where there's just bloat, and it feels like, oh, I have these fucking fetch quests to do, and I don't want to do these stupid fetch quests in Zelda. I don't like doing fetch quests in any game, but in Zelda games, it just feels like even worse because I think there was some very light fetch questing in Breath of the Wild, but at least but
Breath of the Wild, they introduced, I could teleport to any of the places that I had the shrine located in, so.
You have an amiibo, dude.
You have to have the amiibo for fucking Skyward Sword.
I'm literally about to look up NFC shit so that I can just
create your own, flash it to an NFC.
Yes, so that I can trick my Switch into thinking that I have it. Is stupid. I want to go to the sky. Okay, well, if you come back down, you do have to restart at the original spot.
Yeah.
Why? Explain it to me. Oh, I hope you didn't need any potions, dog.
Yeah.
You got two. I just got an extra bottle. What do I do with it? Nothing, because you can't leave. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad that they made this game so that they can make the better game.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Jage.
Ooh,
What
you're
are
just
you
gonna really
playing?
make that run. You're gonna force.
It's because I'm
Jade.
too lazy to hit the J period, because I have to do like multiple stuff on my phone to get to the freaking dot after the J. So I just write Jage, and it's so much easier. Unlike Zach, who writes JJ, and it's not, you don't like the without the dots. It has to have the periods in there. So I will annoy the F out of you and just call you Jage. So what are you playing, my dude?
I am playing Disney Speedstorm.
Yeah.
Disney's new kart racer. I don't want to call it a kart racer because it's more like it's Game Loft. Okay, so have you played Asphalt?
What'd you call me? Yeah.
If you've played Asphalt, you're going to be familiar with what's going on in this game in a way. It is right now it's an early access. They gave us a code. They gave us I forget the deluxe founders code. There's like 3 tiers of founders editions. There's like the standard edition, the deluxe edition, and then like a premium edition or something. So they gave us the middle tier. And I'm going to get it out of the way really quick that the game itself plays really fun.
That's all I wanted to know was how well does this game play?
Yeah, it plays really fun. It's just a nice, simple kart racer with some battle mechanics. It's got some different stuff outside of Mario. You know how Mario Kart has a jump, but this one has more like a real jump. It's not like jump into a drift. It is an actual like off the ground jump, and it's also got grind rails that you can grind your cart on, which is kind of fun. And this is all the kind of nonsense to like gain your boost and everything, because like any mobile game, the racing is all about your boost. And also the soundtrack is incredible in this game. A lot of Disney games don't lean into the Disney music very much.
Except Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, even Kingdom Hearts does a lot of like focus more on their original music than like remixes. This is all remixes of Disney stuff, like Pirates of the Caribbean and like Minnie's Yoo-Hoo and the Mickey Mouse Club theme song and stuff. But it's all like club remixes of these, and it's all like really good. So I'm enjoying that part of it. Everything else is a nightmare. This game,
it honest to God looks like one, man.
Everything, there's like you've got battle passes, you've got like 3 or 4 different currencies, you've got it is 100% pay to win. You can stack the founders DLC. So if you just want to like buy all 3, you get the coins and the perks and the loot boxes for all 3. And things like, in order to level up, you need to like get some of the resources that come out of the loot boxes and stuff. So you can't spend your physical money on it yet. This game's going to go free to play next year. So
why does Disney keep doing this?
I know they did it with Dreamlight, and
that's what I mean.
A fancy early access, a way for them to make money.
and it's also, it's kind of scummy in a way because
no shit.
In a completely different way than you're probably thinking about.
Anyways,
because if you bought this game and wanted to refund it, you couldn't, because you're not buying the game.
Yeah,
you're buying
the
add-ons.
Right.
Yeah. So like, instead of just releasing a $30 early access game, they're releasing a free game. You get access to the game by buying $30 DLC or $60 DLC or $80 DLC. The game's free, but you're getting
this is like the reverse version of when those venues don't let you buy water.
Yeah.
So instead they let you buy a peanut that comes with a free water, except this is the bad version of that. This is the evil version of that.
Yeah. So and because of the way the system works, and you can, it's like you're playing it and and like I said, there's battle passes obviously, and they change like
Oh yeah,
once
I
a
bet.
and they change like once a month. So like right now it's a Monsters Inc. Thing. So
But also, like, why are you doing battle passes before the game comes out, man?
and like if you get the standard edition, it starts with 2 kart racers. If you get the deluxe edition, you get 2 kart racers and then like a third one of your choice.
I guess it just feels like they're just like taking gotcha FOMO to a new level where it's like, get in on the DLCs if you don't want to miss these battle passes.
Well, and that's the thing, like the DLCs also depending on the ones that you buy, you get gold tickets, and the gold tickets can be redeemed for the battle pass. So I've got 2 gold tickets because I got the middle one, and so I get this battle pass and then like whatever next one I want to without having to pay for it. And it's just
JJ,
like,
I don't want you to waste your money, but I do want this to disappear into a black hole and to never exist again.
It sucks because, like I said, the game itself is enjoyable. I just hate.
I'm on the opposite side. I want JJ to waste all of his money on this game.
I'm gonna go all in on Jesus. And
JJ, you do actually. You know what? Maybe I should take it back. You deserve this. You deserve.
As the Disney guy, you deserve all of this.
If you've ever been to a Disney theme park, this is just what it's like going there. You go in there, you give them your money to get some Disney dollars, which will be you can trade for goods and services. Except some retailers don't take the Disney dollars.
This is what JJ gets. This is what JJ deserves for being as.
This is what all these Disney fans deserve.
Seriously, you all are
the
fucking.
Game you deserve.
You were.
Well, and you can tell by
you were sewing. You were doing a lot of sewing before, and now it's time to reap. It's time to reap.
Wow, what the fuck?
It's time to reap is the name of this episode.
Yeah. It's like the courses are all really cool. It's funny, like you can the standard founder pack, you get Mickey and Donald. Yay. Of course, the extra DLC character that I chose to unlock was Baloo from Jungle Book because
who's that? So I posted a TikTok of a kid unlocking some character.
Figment. Figment is
why is he in there?
A Figment is an imaginary dragon from Disney World.
Oh really? I thought he was. I thought he was the dragon from
X-Men?
that one movie. No. What's that one movie about the emotions?
Oh,
Inside Out.
Inside Out?
Yeah, I thought that was the.
I mean,
dragon.
it would still fit the theme, I guess. But no, Figment. There's a ride at Epcot that's Journey into Imagination. That is like, Figment is basically the mascot of Epcot. So that's why that guy was.
And
crying.
that kid was screaming his head off for the Epcot ball. Like what? What is he doing?
Imagine if you got that golf ball as your cut.
I need some more reaping, is what I'm hearing. I just said we got some more reaping to do.
Also, I want to point out, you know how remember that TikTok that was going viral about the guy that really likes the character from Danganronpa and just like his house is plastered with it, except that character.
Oh, thank God I didn't see this.
Except for that character dies within like the first hour of that game and is never seen again. It's the same thing with Figment, where that ride was changed significantly 30 years ago and has been ruined since, but people are still grasping on the Figment. So
oh man. All
right. Fun game, but it sucks, and you can just see from 1,000 miles away when it finally goes free to play next year what's gonna happen.
So if this didn't have the free to play gotcha whatever monetary aspect, if this was
just fucking Mario Kart but with Disney characters, it'd be great.
All right, so that part at least seems like it works. Yeah. It's just everything else around it sounds absolutely horrible.
It's haunting when you just look, and it's Gameloft, so it's like the Asphalt games.
The gotcha gods.
So
they gotcha, all right.
And they lock everything is locked behind. Like you have to keep going through the story mode if you want to do multiplayer races.
Then
you also have to go further through the story mode if you want ranked multiplayer. It's just everything sucks about the package as the game is fine, but no, absolutely not.
Right.
They can pound sand with this fucking thing, man.
And then after the show, he's gonna go play.
He's gonna go play. He's like, can't wait. What else are you playing, JJ?
I started playing a medieval VR.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Zach,
Did you get sick yet?
Me that. Yeah, man. It's a boomer shooter. And I haven't played a lot of it. I played a little bit. It just if you've played a medieval, you've played this, but this is also clearly not just a port. They clearly like rebuilt the game to handle VR and how like the one-to-one movement of VR and stuff with like your axe and shit is like Skyward Sword one-to-one motion kind of stuff. So it's so far so good. It's really weird to adjust to low fidelity aesthetic in the VR verse because so much stuff is slow and high fidelity in one way or another, and this is fast and blocky. So it's weird. It's a weird adjustment, but I haven't really actually gotten sick yet. I tend to have a good stomach for it. The only thing that's ever made me sick in VR was that I think it was on the PlayStation VR demo disc where it was that shark cage thing.
Oh yeah.
And it was only because you didn't have a torso to look down at. So when you're looking around, I don't have a frame of reference for where I'm standing.
You get very nauseous with that.
Yeah, but that's the only time I've ever gotten sick in VR. So luckily, so far so good. I'm actually really excited to like really jump into this.
When you hop into more of that, nice.
So. Yay. And I didn't get to, I just want to talk to Zach for like 2 seconds about something, and we haven't gotten to talk about Resident Evil 4 at all, and I know we both played through it, we both beat it, and I was just like I just wanted to to hear your thoughts on the Resident Evil 4.
Okay, so it's probably the
fourth Resident Evil game.
No, it's the funniest game ever played. That game is a bag of laughs, and I love it so much. I was laughing so hard. Every like it's just like it's crazy to me because like I was talking about this with somebody else, but like as a kid, you're like Resident Evil's scary. I don't want to play that game. It's spooky. But then as an adult, you realize that Resident Evil has always been this kind of like schlocky, like B tier, like horror thing, and just like realizing that and realizing how they kind of perfected that with 4, and then now with this new version that is kind of like is like the ultimate essence of everything that the series is. It's just like, man, it's a perfect video game. Like it's just really good.
Nice.
I didn't play it, but I did. I was watching a playthrough, as you guys can attest to. We caught some of it. But actually, Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise actually hits some of the same notes to me, where it's just like super on the nose, quick cut, mega quip. Like you just get fucking quiplashed.
There isn't a line.
Love it.
There isn't a line in this game that isn't delivered with complete and total sass. And I love it.
Yeah, it's like there's a couple of lines. Like there's this one time where you're fighting a bunch of knights and you kill them.
90 nights.
And then it's like 90 nights. It's like, dude, this is the perfect game. But no, there's a part towards the end where you're fighting regenerators. And like I was just like walking in the darkness, but you can see them like running past you. And it's just the funniest thing. I was laughing my ass off. Just them was like going past me. It's just the stuff in those games that just like make you laugh.
It just reminds me, hey Jimmy, pull up the Germa clip. It just reminds me. It's just same kind of idea.
What's weird to me is that you always see people say like Resident Evil need to go back to its roots, and they always point to Resident Evil 4 as roots, and like this is not the roots, dude. Like
the roots stop. Like literally, it's like a hard stop at 3.
At 3,
hard stop.
Like even 2, like even the remake of 2, even the remake of 2 kind of like folds in all these newer schlocky elements into it. But this is like Resident Evil isn't that, and it hasn't been that for a while. So it's just kind of like that weird kind of like whiplash that I get from talking to fans and then playing 4. It's like, bro, this game's a comedy. It's not even scary. Like it's just
the first line out of of gameplay is like a joke. Like it's not like Resident Evil 1 where it starts off with like a gory murder scene in the woods. It starts.
I just haven't stopped thinking about it. I played 35 hours of it. I played a lot of it. It's just like it's crazy. Like more games need to be like that. Be like Stranger of Paradise. Be like Kingdom Hearts. Be like these games that just like aren't scared to just kind of be like fun and be silly and serious. And like,
I want every game to be just like up their own butt. About like a lot of it.
It's just like I don't want the story to like have to like make the gameplay make sense or whatever. Like Resident Evil just lets itself exist, and it's just like, why? Doesn't matter. Just keep fucking going.
Doesn't matter.
Well, they don't want to kill Ashley, but like they're actively trying to kill Ashley every 30 seconds.
They need her blood.
They need her. Ooh, good shit. Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about. That.
Nice. All right. Well, I have 3 games to talk about, all review games. But first, I'm going to mention 2 quick games that I'm playing on the Switch that I'm doing as part of my catch-up aspect. First one, I'm catching up on Doom Eternal, blazing through that on the Switch.
Blazing on the Switch? Are you sure you're blazing through
those? Obviously, there are frame rate issues, blah, blah, blah. But I got the game for like $8.
Yeah, it's like $8.
So, yeah, impossible to do that on PC.
Yeah, but you know, and it takes up like 56 gigs. It's like the largest Switch game yet, I think, or maybe you're right up there. So I'm like, I got to beat this game so I can have space for the Zelda. So I'm flying through that. It's fine. And I'm also I forgot that I had ordered in a Target buy 2 get 1 free Advance Wars reboot. And I've only put like minimum amounts of time in that thing, but it's fucking good. I'm surprised.
Yeah, like Doom Eternal is like 25 gigs on Switch. What are you talking about?
It's 56 gigs on Switch, dude.
Taylor's looking at something. I think you're wrong.
Yeah, there's
I'm looking at Bethesda's support page.
Dude,
I can attest because I own Doom Eternal on the Switch just because it was.
You guys are so fucking broken in your brains. I don't understand you.
All right,
it was really just for the novelty.
Anyway, all right, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just saying. You guys need to submit a letter to the Slayers Club, okay, and tell them that their article is wrong.
No, I think the game proper was like 25 gigs, but then all the
install
and all that kind of stuff is like 50 plus gigs. So, and that's not even including the DLC. I'm not gonna buy the DLC. But anyway, so those are 2 quick things there. Everything else I've been playing on PC.
Whoa!
I got 3 review games to play to talk about. The first one is a game that I've been super excited about. Well, not super. I've been plenty excited about because you know me. I like cars. I like card games. I've been more and more getting into the card battling games and collectible card game type things, and I like roguelites. And that mix has been. At least the card game roguelite mix has been good. Like I think there was that the guitar game, Power Chord, which was pretty good. I like the Steam World Quest game was pretty fun. And so when you introduce a game with cars, I'm going to take note. Death Road's Tournament is a brand new car-based card game.
I saw this at PAX.
Yeah, this was at PAX. And it's again roguelite, and you basically take a car from the West Coast to the East Coast, and you're battling against other cars. And it seems like just a really cool idea for a card-based game, you know. And so it's in early access, and it's a heavy early access because I'm having not the best time with this game. Now, story-wise, there's it's a very kind of real interesting, passable type of story. If you can imagine a car game, like a death race type of game, this is what it is.
It's just Mad Max's car, right? That
It's Mad Max.
right there.
I like the map system that they're kind of showing there. It's actually kind of cool because it's like actual like world highways and that kind of shit. So that's neat. But the problem that I'm getting into with this game is that, let me see if I can find a spot here. I'm gonna scroll this. Yeah, here we go. So you see first of all, you have a bunch of different types of cards that you can get, right? You can get your own car, obviously build it up, blah blah blah. The cards that you actually get, there are movement cards there, which kind of reposition you on the screen. There are different types of attack and defense cards. When you're early on in the game and early on in your tour or your race, you're ahead of people, right? Your goal is to race from one end of the US to the other. Well, that means if you're racing really well, you're going to be in front of cars, which means a lot of the attacks that you get are forward-facing attacks, and the cars are behind you. So you're kind of stuck spending a ton of your cards, a ton of your actions early on, just repositioning your vehicle to get it behind or next to some of the other vehicles. And that really kind of feels like it needs a ton of work done to it, because it takes away a lot of the joy of what this game is about. It goes away from being sort of this racing death race type of thing to, okay, I got to get my mindset back into a traditional RPG, and I have to reset like the original, like the first big chunk of battles to get back to that feel. And I think those are the aspects that I think the game is sort of missing. So disappointed. It's a cool idea, but the execution still, I think, has a ways to go. But I mean, if you like card game roguelites, I mean, check it out. It's not a bad game. It's just there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this sucker to really kind of nail some of those issues. But Cars, I have another game that I've been playing, and I mentioned they're going to get progressively better. The second game that I'm playing actually won an award from us at PAX East, and it is now released in early access. And that game is Trinity Fusion, and got one of our Team Choice Awards at PAX East. At PAX East, you can go back and listen to the thing. You got to kind of switch back and forth between the three different characters. You can go to these portals and kind of hop back and forth. All cool stuff. What the game actually does, though, is there's this whole story aspect to this that you don't get in that PAX East demo. And so you start off with like one specific character in this. I'm not going to say which one. I don't want to ruin the plot. You start off one specific character, and then you kind of make your way through the initial level. But the hook is, if you die right away. So again, this is a platformer roguelike. The worlds are kind of being procedurally generated, blah blah blah, action based. The hook is you kind of want to die, because then you get sent to the hub, and the hub is where you start to really find out about the story. You find out about the abilities. The hub, it's like the central world. You find out about the story. You're able to kind of make your way around the aspects of the game. It's where you kind of learn some of the details that get you through. But you only get that by sort of dying in your first initial run, and then you get back to that first run, and you go back through it, and you've kind of figured out enough things. You started to expand your character and make them stronger through every run that you go through. You open up different sections. Like there's the main area, then there's an overworld, then there's like deserts, and then you get to like the whole next level. Then you go through those, you get to the next level, then you can start to hop back and forth. So there's this cool Metroidvania-ish aspect of it, which again wasn't in that PAX preview, but works really well here. So the game's in early access. And I don't think it needs a ton of tuning. Really, the only issue that I have with this is that the difficulty spike when you get through. So you kind of gain levels, you gain experience, gain levels, your character gets stronger, your attacks get stronger, your weapons you can kind of open up and unlock and advance, improve your weapons, your swords and that kind of stuff as you go along. You clear one stage of one section of this specific world, let's say. You go to the next section, and all of a sudden the enemies are like 10 times stronger than they were in the previous one. Yeah, and so that tuning really, I think, is what they need to spend their time on in the early access, the access point. But so you do die a lot, just building up your character and building up the back end stuff so that those later runs become better. And so apart from that, I really like this game. It's so finely tuned. The physics work really well. The jumps are awesome. The animation's great. It controls exactly how I want a game to like this to control. Like, it feels like Metroid Dread, which I think is a big like positive in how you control a game. Because Metroid Dread, I mean, it controlled really well. We all love that game for the most part. And this feels like it. And it feels like it, but you're kind of split among these 3 different worlds. And then you can start to bring your characters in between the different worlds, start fusing different aspects. And it works. And it works really well. And if you're a fan of Metroid Dread and you would love to check out a more procedurally randomized, fresh playthrough each time, I think this starts to really scratch that itch. And I couldn't figure out why I was liking this game so much until the Metroid Prime stuff popped in. Because then you get into like you'll get into these rooms where you have like 7, 8 enemies just start popping up, and you've got to kind of bounce around the rooms and start to like position yourself and do certain things and drop bombs here and then run to the other side and power up your weapon and slide across. And it just works. It works so well from that standpoint. Yeah, I mean, Trinity Fusion is great. It's I'm really digging it, and I'm like, I've gotten through the overall majority of this game without like ripping my hair out, whatever hair I have left, without ripping my hair out. And then you get to kind of the end game portion. Yeah, you get to the end game portion, and again, it's that spike, that difficulty spike, where you're like, crap, I've got to go back and build certain things up that I didn't really want to rebuild, but I have to. So again, I think those are the little aspects that need to be adjusted here. But again, it's solid. Like these are minor qualms that I think are balance issues that can be worked out. So yeah, Trinity Fusion is a blast. Really, I played it almost exclusively on the Steam Deck, and it's a perfect Steam Deck game. Like, it's the kind of game that lie in bed. Yeah, another one. You lie in bed, you play it, and it works. It works great. So yeah, Trinity Fusion, good. We made a good choice giving it the Team Choice Award. It was it was right. But now I'm going to get to a game that someone on staff kept calling it poopy. Poopy. This game is poopy. It's bad. It's poopy. And nobody wanted to. Could you guys know who that be? Nobody wanted to review this game. So I'm like, well, crap. I'm going to go ahead and review this game because I'm the only one that's going to review this. And we need to review. The code's been sitting there, so F it. I'll review it. Boy, was I happy that I reviewed this game because Cassette Beasts right now is my favorite game of the year. Cassette Beasts is
there's no way that I said there's no way I had any opinion about this game.
No, is so fucking perfect in what I'm looking for as a Pokemon player that doesn't like Pokemon, but loves classic like turn-based JRPGs.
Yeah, it still looks poopy.
Dude, I don't care what your thoughts are here, Mr. Negative. This game's phenomenal. There's so much heart in this game. Okay, I'm pulling up my notes right now, which are on my phone. I have like the super long aspect. All right, so you star as this character who appears on this island, just like classic JRPGs, right? You wake up on the shores of this island. No idea how you got there. Everybody you talk to says, "Hey, don't worry about." Like, one of my favorite lines in this is, "Don't worry about how this works. It just works. Just enjoy it." Which I'm like, that's awesome. So don't worry about the back end. You don't understand how this works. Just enjoy the game. So you wake up on this island, everybody else has woken up on this island like over the last several hundred years, and they don't know how they got there, and nobody's been able to leave. So they said, let's build up this town and all live together in harmony. You have people from different eras in this. So it's like you have someone very modern, someone from like, medieval Europe, and you got like Japan, you got people from around the world. And it's because of the people want to, the characters want to make everybody sort of feel at home. They let them dress the way they do, which is kind of a cool conceit for the developers to say, we just wanted to throw a bunch of cool assets together and try a bunch of different costumes. So that's a way to do it. But essentially how this game functions is it plays like Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow. You can kind of see the visuals there, mixed with like old Final Fantasy IV, and mixed with Link's Awakening, because it has all those kind of jammed together. Gorgeous visuals. Like when you're playing it, it's just, I hate to say buttery smooth because it's so cliche, but it's a buttery smooth 60 FPS. Like the visual style is essentially like looking at these little pixel cutouts that are walking on this like what they call that shift, the tilt shift worlds, right? With the camera angles where the back is like blurrier, but they add this little like fog in some areas, which gives you like this early morning feel, but then that fog disappears because there's like nighttime rolls in. So there's like different night and day aspects. And visually, it's so welcoming from that visual aspect. So, all right. The whole premise of this game is you can get this party of characters. It's not necessarily an open world, but there are tons of huge quests and places you can go to. It's open world-ish. You can get your party of a bunch of different characters. Everybody has their own little quests. You go around capturing these creatures. Everything's music-based. And so you capture the creatures, you turn them into cassettes, and you drop them in your Walkman. And then you put your headphones on and you become, like, there you go. You become the beast, right? That you've captured. Now, the awesome aspect of that is you level up. Your character levels up. The beast doesn't, not unlike Pokemon, the monsters don't level up, which means.
I hate this. It's terrible.
No, in Pokemon, if you level up your character, if you level up your Mon, you're kind of stuck with like, well, shit, I have a level 70 so-and-so. I'm not going to pair it with like 2 level 13s of something. It's like, I don't play that way. If I get my character, my monsters leveled up, I stick with them. In this game, because you're leveling up, whatever monster you bring in adapts to that level. So it really allows you to experiment with all the different monsters. And then things get really cool because I think a few years ago, the developer of this was like, hey, I came up with this cool idea where I can take these different monsters and it like procedurally fuses aspects of them together to create these new beasts. Well, that's what this game is. It'll take like a tail of one monster. You can fuse your 2 monsters together. It'll take like aspects of one monster and jam it to aspects of the other. And you can sometimes get these really hideous monsters and abilities. And sometimes you get some that are like really cute, but you never know what you're going to get, which I think is really cool. And it really like, you don't become like super attached to these monsters because of that. Right. So it really like encourages you to experiment and develop your team and your monsters and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's really neat. And I think that's something that I don't get from Pokemon games, because my goal in a Pokemon game is to hunt down every single individual monster. And that once I fill out my Pokedex, I'm done. I'm never playing this game again. With a game like this, I can collect a bunch of monsters and then I start fusing them together. And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I found a new monster with new body parts and new abilities. I'm going to fuse that in there and I'll get something different every time I do it. And it's so refreshing. And I love monster cruelty, as the people will say. It's so refreshing. And it's so kind of joyful in that aspect that it really makes me like, it rekindles my love of monster hunting and like Pokemoning in a way. And I think that to me is awesome. Because again, I've been playing all the latest Pokemons and it's like, all right, go collect monsters and fight raids and blah, 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 blah. That's it. Done. Story's over with. It's in a school this time, yada, yada. with this, like I said, because it captures those classic the aspects of those games that I loved early on, it hits perfectly. And I think it's like if you're someone in your 30s or 40s who grew up with the original Pokemon and you kind of shied away because they haven't evolved over the years, something like this nails it because again, it activates like, oh shit, Zelda's in this, Pokemon's in this, Final Fantasy's in this, Dragon Quest is in.
But I want to be friends with the monsters. I don't want procedurally generated monsters. Gengar is my friend, and he's big and strong.
There you go. But you can make your own monsters. So I think there's so much originality and heartness. And one of the other really
NFTs work. You're just playing an NFT game.
There's so much like love that this game is oozing. It's esoteric, but the music side of it, because there's a whole big music aspect. Obviously, cassette beasts, they're stuck in cassettes. Again, they tell you, don't worry why this works or how it works, just go with the flow. So you pop your cassette in your battles are basically like a Walkman. So there's like play, pause, stop, record, and each of those are related to the different like motions and stuff you can do and actions you can do in battles. I think that's really cool. Play obviously is attack, pause, stop, like lets you flip out different animals or monsters and stuff. And then during these battles, because you have a team of people on your side in your party, each of them can have their own skill sets, their own monsters and that kind of stuff. And you essentially have 2 life bars. Like you have the monster life bar, which I think is in red, and you have your own personal one, which is green. And when the monster life bar gets knocked out, then then it goes back to you, and you got to kind of choose a new monster to put in there before your life bar gets knocked down. So I think that aspect is really cool. And Pokemon games feel like work. You're going out to hunt to like capture these monsters. Nothing in this game feels like work. Like this game feels like exploration and fun. And it's like, I really want to go back. I'm like, again, this other game where I'm right at the end game. There are moments in this where some of these quests have been so touching that, not that they brought a tear to my eye or anything like that, but I'm like, oh shit, that was a really honest and earnest resolution to this character's story arc. And I'm like, wow, that's more than satisfying. Like that, there are aspects that will like stick with me from this game. And it's not a long game. It's like, I don't know, it's like a shorter game. I don't know. I'm not exact. I'll have to take a look at how many hours I put into it, but it's pretty affordable too. But great visuals. It's moody pixels, which is kind of what I call it. And then the music is just phenomenal. There are like vocals in the music in the overworld in a lot of aspects. And you kind of just want to sit and listen to the music. And that's what I did for like, once I cleared out the first like 2 major areas and took away some of the bosses. They're like mini bosses and like trains and other shit that you can do, mines. But once I cleared out like a few of the first major bosses, like I just stopped and just listened to the soundtrack in the overworld because it was so freaking nice and calming to hear vocals in a game. And oh God, I'm in love with this game. It's the Ted Lasso of monster ranching RPGs. I can't, there's just so much greatness in this game. I will say the only annoyance I have is when you're walking around, like the action button, when you just kind of walk around the overworld and in towns and stuff, to interact with something, you press X, like if you're talking to someone or whatever. But then to advance any of the text that pops up, you hit A. So it's like you have to kind of, and then to back out, you hit B. So you're kind of finger fumbling a little bit. So I think that the some of the controls need a little work, but I'll have to see if I can remap some of this stuff. But like the base controls have you kind of pushing the wrong buttons, or at least it feels like in a way. But I love this game. If you're a child of the 80s and 90s and maybe even the early 2000s with RPGs and Pokemon and Zelda, I think this game is just absolutely perfect from that aspect. And yeah, it is probably my favorite game that I've played in this year so far. It's a short year so far, but man, there's just so much love. Like that, it just created a cool, weird looking beast with speakers for, bass for arms. And I think that's subs for. I think it's awesome. So yeah, Cassette Beast, man, so charming, so good. I cannot recommend this game highly enough. It's on my short list. Love it.
Zach, are you ready to pen your official apology letter, or
Notes
what's
out
the deal?
The Notes app and
Zach doesn't play a game. He just looks at the trailer and goes, "That's poopy." Next, no, but
I can just tell.
you can just tell. No, there's so much good. So JJ, you mentioned Meg's Monster as sort of this. You guys missed the conversation the last week, but this has based on what you're telling me about Meg's Monster, this has a lot of the feel of, there's a human aspect to this story that is not like the game is not what you think it is. And then when you do realize what this game is, you're like, oh shit, okay, I get it. And it like increases your engagement with a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I don't think I've praised a game like an indie game this much on the show before, but man, fuck, dude, it's great. It's a great game. Charming as hell. Buy it. When we're gonna get the succession of monsters, that's what I want. I want like a succession game where the monsters are all fighting for like who's running the ranch. That would be badass. Who'd be Shiv? Who'd be Logan? But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Surprisingly, I'm like becoming because I'm the dad on SideQuesting, I have to eat all the scraps that none of y'all will eat and have to eat off your plate. So all these extra review codes, and I got like 2 other reviews that I'm playing. All these other review codes, I'm just like, fine, I'll just play this game, fine. And this is a case where this game was like, wow, holy shit. I'm kind of glad that I'm the dad in this case because I was not expecting that. I legit was not expecting to love this game as much as I did. That's
You're
it.
welcome.
2 hours, 1 hour and 41 minutes is where we're at right now.
Release me.
We got 2 weeks before Zelda shows up, and I have a feeling that we're gonna be
it's gonna be a good show.
It's gonna be a good show for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks as we're talking about it till Final Fantasy shows up or something else. But
Spider-Man 2.
Because it's what? It's on the 12th, right?
Yeah, it's the 12th, and then everything else is in June.
So we'll have 5 days.
Redfall, yeah.
We'll have 5 days before we talk about it on the first episode.
Yeah.
We may have to do a special that night.
Oh my god, hey, absolutely not.
You're gonna cut into my Zelda time.
Hell no, you're not talking to me that night.
You're not talking to me. Goodness. Well, you can find us at sidequesting.com. Discord is where we love to be. You can count with us in the Discord. We're up into the 70s now, and it's kind of cool and therapeutic. SideQuesting TV on YouTube and on Twitch. Zach just posted 76. I got the notification. Thank you, Zach. We're going to try to get this sucker to 100 by the end of the weekend. And at SideQuesting on whatever the social media network of your choice is, go there. You can find us individually at Dolly Demosky, at OKQuest, at _J, at Taylor Bliss. Again, Discord. Find us there. Finally, we are on every podcast service out there. I think I'm going to get us on the SoundCloud here shortly anyways, if we're not there already. Rate, review us. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button. If you're watching this on Twitch, hit a like or a thumbs up or whatever you do on Twitch.
Use your Prime subscription on us.
Oh my god, imagine.
That shit helps getting us.
Drop a primer.
That's how we get these. That's how we get codes and stuff because people realize that folks are watching our show. That's always helpful. With that, we're gonna let you go and have yourselves a nice evening or day if you're watching this. That's not on a Wednesday night at 11 o'clock. We love you.
You're a sociopath that is watching the VOD of this.
Yes, that's all right. Surprisingly, we get people that watch the VOD of this afterwards. That's where most of our views come from.
I don't believe it.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, again, for joining us. We love you. We'll see you in the next episode of The Side.